Guys, let's talk about getting paid. That's what we're all here for. This is why you're subscribed to my channel. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, you definitely should be. But this is why we're all in the aim of business, all doing this for the name of business, if you will. This is where rubber meets the road, taking payments from clients. It can be awkward, you can make mistakes. So let's actually go through this and break this down in exactly what you need in order to follow this and take payments successfully from clients. I have made a couple of mistakes in the past, nothing too crazy though, guys, but by the end of this video you will be an expert at taking payments, getting paid, and this is very, very important because getting paid and taking payments, guys, is the oxygen of a business. So that being said, guys, before I jump into this, agency tramitation right now is $100 off. It is being released at $497 USD for the beta group. Technically, the original price, the actual final release price will be $997 USD, but for the beta group, it's $497 USD. But I'm doing a Black Friday discount, if you will, where I'm even knocking a further $100 off of the price of agency tramitation. So you can actually get in right now for $397 USD. Get in there quick because what I'm going to be doing is closing this discount on the 1st of the 12th, so 1st of December 2021. So by the time the 1st comes around, December, the spots will be closed. I will not be opening those up again. Do not try me, if you will, as they say. I am not in the game to be using fake scarcity or fake urgency. This is real. I'm actually doing $100 off, and I want to give back to people for Black Friday, and I want people to stop spending money on dumb stuff like PS5s and TVs when you can literally go and buy a program that will teach you how to go and land clients, and you can buy a PS5 every single day of the week, 365 days of the year if you really put your time into this. So with that out of the way, guys, let's talk about how you take payments from clients. So first and foremost, let's actually talk about when you should take payments, just real quick, because I feel like this is important. So when you want to take payments is actually on the call. So when you're actually on Zoom, I actually do recommend you use Zoom for all of your calls. I do recommend you record all of your calls as well, just in case anything goes wrong, or just in case you kind of need to use that for a Stripe dispute. I have had one dispute where a client has tried to scam me in terms of saying that we didn't deliver work, or they didn't know it was going to be, I forgot what the actual dispute was. It was so long ago that it was like basically something stupid on the lines of like, they tried to say that we didn't deliver the work when we actually have physical evidence of us delivering the work. Not only that, but they disputed like month 1, month 2 payment, saying that, oh, they didn't know that it was a rolling contract or something like that, and I have it in the contract and I said it on the call as well. So it's very, very useful to actually record your calls. By the way, I never lost a dispute in my entire life, not because we're good at lying or cheating or stealing or taking from other people. It's just because we've never wronged anybody. We just literally don't want to wrong anyone. I've literally given people refunds back in terms of like, I remember when I was working with real estate agents, I literally paused their contracts and just said, you know what, I don't think this is going to work. Your business probably might be closed for a while. You're probably in a worse financial situation than I am. Here's your, £1,000 back. I've refunded £1,000 back casually, if you will, to other businesses. Anyway, long story short, let's talk about getting paid. So I do recommend you actually take the payments on the call. Now, when they say, last question, Montel, how much is all this going to cost? What you're going to do is you're going to drop your price with some sort of incentive behind them paying right there and right then. Because if you don't, then always going to find a reason to quote unquote think about it. So you want to take payments right there and then. Now, the way how you go about taking payments is you would send over a simple invoice. Now, let's actually go back and actually get to that stage first. How on earth do you actually set up a simple invoice? Well, first and foremost, what you're going to need is a couple of software. What I do recommend, guys, is if you're in kind of like a country, if you will, that allows you to use Stripe, always use Stripe. I personally use 2 different payment types, if you will. There's Stripe and then there's PayPal. PayPal is like my least favorite. I try not to use this strategy way of taking payments, if you will. I really, really hate PayPal, guys. I don't think you understand how much I hate PayPal. PayPal is terrible. It's trash. I don't use it unless it's like a last resort. I'd rather do a straight bank wire that takes like 5 days or something like that to actually show up in my account than actually do a PayPal payment. Like, I'm not even joking. That's how bad PayPal is, because it can actually just hold money for no reason whatsoever. Even if you do like super legit, you've got all your thingy magic verified and whatnot. The back end of your payment process is verified. So let's talk about these. So Stripe, PayPal, those are payment processors, payment gateways, if you will. Those allow you to accept money or credit cards, if you will. PayPal is more of it's kind of like an online bank, if you. It's so weird, PayPal. The way how you would explain PayPal is obviously it's a payment processor, but the way how it works is slightly different from Stripe. Stripe is where you can actually put a card in, if you will, and actually take card numbers and save those and auto bill people like that. So what I recommend you guys do is set up a Stripe account. Now, the way how you set up a Stripe account, I believe you have to be registered as a sole trader, but I actually wasn't registered. I don't know why this is, but I was not registered as a sole trader when I set up my Stripe. I think I just put I was registered as a sole trader. Like literally I just put I'm a sole trader, and that was basically it. And it allowed me to set up Stripe. Stripe is completely free, by the way, guys. I think they take like 1 point something percent, I think like 1.2% or something like that of the payments that you actually take, 1.3% or something like that, plus 20p. Yeah, I think that's actually the charge that you're gonna get hit with, but it's okay. I do recommend paying that because it's the best payment processor in the world. And then after you put some serious numbers through Stripe, it actually gives you faster payouts. So your payouts might take about 5 days to actually go into your bank. So when you charge a client, for example, $1,000, what's going to happen is Stripe will actually take your client will actually put their credit card into your kind of like Stripe link, if you will. And then what happens is it will actually, the funds will actually go from their bank account into your Stripe account, but it's kind of like held there, if you will, for a couple of days. Now that's in your Stripe balance, if you will. Then that takes about 5 days if you're new to Stripe to actually go from, and this is if you're in the UK, by the way. I think the US version of Stripe is actually much quicker. I think it's like 3 days in the US, but I've heard over here, well, definitely I know for a fact it was 5 days, 5 to 7 days. It's held inside of your Stripe kind of like balance, which you can't actually physically get your hands on, if you will, unless you've got like the faster payout option set up. I don't know if you guys can actually do that when you're a beginner, but long story short, you're actually going to have your payments inside of Stripe. Then what's going to happen 5 days later is it says it sent that payment now from your actual Stripe account to your bank. So yes, you need to go and set up your Stripe account, set up your bank, so they communicating with each other, so the Stripe knows when you get paid. That payment's actually going to go into your bank. You want to make sure that you put all your verification in there. Make sure you're super legit. Any verification you ask you for, make sure you put all of it in there plus more. Put everything you can in there, because Stripe, you don't really want to mess about with Stripe, because Stripe is an absolute privilege to have, guys. You definitely don't want to mess about with Stripe. So treat it with respect, if you want, and he will treat you with respect. So make sure you set up your Stripe properly. Sole trader, I don't think you have to have a registered business for Stripe at all. I don't know what the actual age limit is. I believe you can actually set up a Stripe account if you're under the age of 18, but don't quote me on that, guys. I'm not actually too sure, but Stripe is my favorite payment processor. So guys, as I was saying, so when your payment goes into your Stripe account, it's held there for about 5 days if you're new. Then what happens is it gets sent to your bank, and obviously it takes a couple of days to go from your Stripe account to your actual bank account. So it's an extra maybe 2 days or something like that. So all in all, you're waiting for about 7 days to actually get your payment, which is why if you've got like a media buyer, I recommend you do like a net 14 day into the actual agreement that you pay your media buyer if you need that funds to actually pay out your media buyer, if you will. So that's how I recommend going about doing that. Now, the way how I like to use Stripe, if you will, is like this. I use a software called simpleinvoices.io at the end. I don't use the other one, what's like .com or .co or whatever it is, because there's two different versions. There's simpleinvoices.com, I believe it is, and then there's simpleinvoices.io. Now, I use Simple Invoices because it's a very elegant and very beautiful kind of way to create just the invoice itself. This is not a payment processor, by the way. This is literally just an additional service that makes you look good, if you will. That's and by the way, it's $8 per month, I believe it is. $10 or $8 per month. I think I pay like £8 for it. So I think it's actually $10 per month, to be honest with you, for those guys that obviously are in the US. So Simple Invoices is just an invoicing software system. Very simple, and it creates invoices, aka Simple Invoices. Its name does what the name on the tin does what it says, basically. So long story short, here's how I build clients. Whenever I'm on a call with them on Zoom, like we are, let's pretend me and you are on Zoom, and I drop my price to $1,000 per month or whatever it is. Then what I do is I go to Simple Invoices. Obviously, Simple Invoices are already hooked up and integrated with Stripe. I should have mentioned that already. So Stripe, Simple Invoices, you log into Simple Invoices. Once you've got a Stripe account, you then press on the settings in Simple Invoices, integrations. You go and integrate your Stripe account, and they basically just integrate. If you're already logged into Stripe, it already kind of like automatically does it for you, if you will. And then that's it. You don't have to worry about that ever again. So what I do whenever I charge a client on the call, I'm saying, it's $1,000. They say, okay, send me over the invoice. What I do is I take their email address that they've already used to book in this call, and I just double check to see if it's okay to send the invoice to that email. I ask them, John, is it okay if I send this email, send the invoice to your email? Then what I do is if they say yeah, I obviously take that and send it over to that email. If not, I find out what email is the best to send the invoice over to, and then send the invoice to that particular email address. Anywho, let's pretend that I've already got them booked in on a call, They've come through my Acuity scheduling kind of system, if you will, my meeting setting system, like Acuity scheduling. I've got them on a call now, and I've dropped my price $1,000 per month. They then say, yes, you can send me the invoice to that same email that I used to book in a call, Montel. That's completely fine. What I do is I go to Acuity scheduling, I grab, the person's full name, I grab their email address, and then what I do is I just use those two pieces of information. I don't even really use their business address anymore. I just use their full name, their actual name, as in like, John Harrodsfield or so, whatever you want to call him. And then I actually just take his email address, and then what I do is I put that into the subscription section. So on a simple invoice on the left hand side, you will see like invoices, you'll see like subscription, and I click on that subscription one. Now this is if you're setting up a retainer. A retainer is where you get paid each and every month, guys, or each and every it's a recurring payment basically. So if you want to get paid recurringly, if you will, automatically, this is how you go about doing this. You set up a subscription, you put in the item, well, obviously you put in the client name first, the email, then you click on add items. When you click on add items, it will say, you can kind of like type in a box, like what item it is. You just literally want to type in, 90-day paid traffic program, for example, which is monthly Facebook ad services. You put that in there, then what you do is you set your price, it's $1,000 per month, or just put $1,000, and then in the options section, it will actually show you what sort of like currency you can change it to, whether that be USD, Great British Pounds, Australian dollars. I think there's I think pretty much every single currency is on there. So I believe this is just a simple, it's just a simple kind of like invoicing software. So I think every currency is pretty much included. Don't quote me on that though. And then it comes to schedule. Now schedule, what you can do with schedule is you can set the interval. So how frequently are you going to be charging them this $1,000? Is it every month? Is it every week? Is it bi-weekly, which is, twice a month, if you will? Or is it every quarter? I think that's the option in there as well. So what you can do is actually set it up per month. Obviously, if you've got like a monthly ordeal or monthly kind of like deal with your client, which I do recommend you have at least 3-month deal. Then what you can do is you can set your end date. So if obviously you're closing a client in January, and then what you want to do, January the 5th, for example, then what you want to do is put the end date of your invoices so that you get paid 3 times, and it ends in March, probably on March the 6th. I would actually set that to end for, because that would actually give you paid on January the 5th, February the 5th, and then March the 5th. And then on the 6th, it will actually stop and pause the actual auto billing. And then if your client wants to stay on, then you'd obviously just resume it, if you will. So that's how you go about setting up recurring payments. Now, if you want to set up a PayPal payment, it's very similar to Simple Invoices. Both my PayPal and my Stripe accounts are set up and integrated with Simple Invoices. However, when you're actually doing recurring payments, you have to turn off, there's like an option section. So when you create a subscription, you put in the name and the client's email address first, then you put in the item and the pricing, then you go to options, you select kind of like the currency, you put in any sort of like tax or VAT, kind of like if you're VAT registered, you put that sort of information in there as well, and put sales tax in there. But you don't really need to worry about that. Well, this is not legal advice. This is obviously for you guys. Obviously, go and do your own research on your sales tax and whatnot. And then what you would do below on the options, on the same options tab where you can actually set your VAT and stuff like that, and your currency, below that it will say kind of like, do you want to accept the payments via Stripe or PayPal? You have to turn PayPal off if you want it to be a recurring auto bill. If you click on PayPal and you turn off Stripe and you press auto pay, there is no auto pay option. It can't physically auto pay through PayPal. You can't actually do that. It actually has to be through Stripe. But that's basically, guys, how I take payments from clients. Now, again, I've made a few mistakes where I've charged PayPal payments instead of Stripe. But I mean, other than that, it's just little blunders like that. So definitely take a couple seconds to review your invoices. And again, Simple Invoices is completely different from Stripe and PayPal. Do you really need Simple Invoices? No, not necessarily. You can throw that away, and you can use Stripe's inbuilt kind of like invoicing software system kind of thingamajig. I personally don't use that though. I don't like the user interface. I feel like it's clunky and it's very messy and time consuming. With Simple Invoices, I can literally send an invoice within like 3-4 seconds or something like that. With like Stripe, actual invoicing software, you have to go to Stripe, log in, you have to then set up a new customer, you have to grab their email, send it over and all that sort of stuff. It's kind of similar, but I still feel like it's much slower, to be honest with you guys. That being said though, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this, and this is how I basically go and take payments from everybody from agent tramitation to my agency to pretty much everything that consulting, coaching, everything. I take payments through this way. And Stripe is kind of like the dashboard thing that you see me always post when I'm talking about the numbers that I've made this particular month. Anyway, guys, that being said, go out there, set up your simple invoices, set up Stripe, set up PayPal, get these assets in place. The sooner the better, obviously, because then you can actually start taking payments if you haven't done this already. That being said, guys, I'm not too sure what you would do in other countries such as like India. I think that India does have a version of Stripe coming out, or it's already out or something like that. I'm not too sure about what's available in your country, so just take a look around and see what the best payment options are for you. You would probably have to do a little bit of research depending on where you are in the world, but if you're in like the US, Canada, the UK, or just Europe if in general, I feel like Stripe will be 100% be your best option. Anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget the discount for aiding tramitation is still $397 to jump in, and that's USD, by the way. So you can actually jump in for $397 USD. That's $100 off the beta version price, if you will, the beta group price, if you will. So you can actually jump in there for $100 off, and that's actually going to be ending on the 1st of December 2021. So make sure you get in ASAP, and that's the Black Friday sale kind of like special that I'm doing. So I just want to help people, make it slightly more accessible to more people, and this is your chance to jump in for sure. This is the cheapest it's ever going to be, and I won't be doing this ever again. So that being said, guys, jump in there. The link is below. I'll make it abundantly clear what you need to do. The link is below in the description. That being said, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video pretty soon. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you got a question, DM me on Instagram about anything you need to know, whether it's agency tramitation or just agency in general that you need to figure out. I'm happy to answer your guys' DMs, as well as the free Telegram group as well. The link's below for that as well. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys very soon. Don't forget to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.